Hey, welcome back to Reddit Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this.
Girlfriend cheats with my boss. I was working at a packing factory around 22 years ago, and I had recently concluded a 4-year long-term relationship in which I had been cheated on. I kicked her to the curb and began dating again. At work, I met this newly divorced female who worked as the receptionist. We began seeing one another because she was attractive and a lot of fun. Everything was going swimmingly, but I wasn't committed to anything long-term. She'd dropped clues about moving in together, and I'd never be able to pull the trigger with her. Something wasn't right. We were very busy at work, and I volunteered for as much odd as I could to supplement my income. I worked in the nights, and my staff was tiny and close-knit. One of my guys told me one night that he observed my boss's automobile at my girlfriend's apartment complex. I knew something was wrong since he lived around 30 miles away. I had worked for him the previous weekend, and my girlfriend had gone to the casino that weekend since I had been called in. Lol. I had a feeling something was wrong. So I approached her door and knocked. She inquired, "Who is it?" "It's me, sweetie," I said. "I came over to check how you were doing." I just had a few moments. He was nowhere to be seen when she opened the door and allowed me in. I motioned for him to go, and he did. I inquired as to what was going on and how long it would take. They claimed to have been up for around 2 weeks. My employer, who had just divorced, was having a terrible time with his ex. Up until this time, I had felt terrible for him. I said that I didn't like the high school nonsense and that it didn't matter whether he saw her. If he wanted a turn, he could have simply informed me, and we could have dealt with it as adults. He apologized, and I told him I didn't want this to interfere with my aunt. I still wanted to work as many weekends as I could. He said that there was no difficulty. I never recognized my soon-to-be ex's existence. She instantly turned invisible and unable to make a sound in my presence. She continued trying to catch my attention and apologize, but I never replied in any manner. Between his ugly divorce and my girlfriend, my boss had been seeing this attractive young lady of 20 who worked at the facility. A few days later, at work, she inquired as to what was going on. When I informed her what had occurred, she was a bit upset. I told her that it was a good thing she found out now before things became more severe. She suggested that we go out and annoy them. That is exactly what we did. And she was a weirdo. I had a lot of fun with her. One of my employees asked me how my date went one day at the workplace when my supervisor was present. I said it was fantastic, maybe the finest transaction I'd ever done. I have no regrets. My boss just stood up and went out. For nearly 2 weeks, we didn't chat about anything other than business. On Fridays, we marketed employee sales to workers. The workers would go to the receptionist and pay, then obtain a ticket to come to us, and we would give them their meal. My boss remarked, "Hey, I'm going to take these 10 boxes, 10 pounds, and I'll pay for them up front on my way out." The exit road ran directly by the receptionist's office, allowing me to see whether he had paid or not. He did not. Drove right by. Because he appeared to make this choice on the spur of the moment, I phoned the plant accountant and asked him to check the cash box and the tickets to see whether there were any for my boss. I was afraid that my ex would merely fill out the tickets and have them ready, and we wouldn't be able to capture her till the box was empty. Because no citations had been issued, he just got into difficulty and was finally dismissed. Later, she was being questioned, and it seemed like she was short in the cash box, but she couldn't be sure. So they had someone come in and pay for dinner with a $100 note. They suspected she was skimming since there were no large transactions completed the remainder of the day that would have needed $100 as change, and because the $100 note was gone from the box at the conclusion of the day. She was dismissed. As the department superintendent, I took over the boss. I got rid of a cheating girlfriend, had crazy with his ex and got to boast about it in front of him, got rid of the same dishonest employer, had 2 thieves fired, earned a promotion, and yet got to keep my aunt. Things normally don't go as planned for me, but it was priceless. Story 2. Ex-wife is pregnant and reached out to me to tell me the other guy is abusing her. Advice? My ex-wife, 29 female, and I, 31 male, were married for 7 years and together for 9 before she cheated on me and left me for the other man. In March of this year, our divorce was formalized. The other man is a jerk who is probably in his 20s. It started at the end of last year, and she informs me she wants a divorce in January of this year. I discovered they'd been conversing for a year before it became physical last October. Divorce went very well since we didn't have any children. She received the vehicle, and I maintained my property and cash. After that, I was no longer in her life, and she was no longer in mine. Except for 1 or 2 occasions when we spotted one other in public, We never contacted each other. Her family is quite orthodox, and when she'd cheated and divorced, they effectively cut her off. She decided to live with the other man. During this period, I discovered she had lost a number of friends because the other person attempted to hit on them or ridiculed them. Her ex's friends attempted to drag me into their conflicts, immature AF, but I included this part since these friends were the ones who stood by her after she had an affair, telling me she found herself and I should probably let her go. I don't hold any hatred against her or the other man. I didn't get engaged with anybody at this time since I was focused on my career and recouping the money I had lost due to my divorce. This is where I need assistance. I received a call 2 days ago from one of my ex-friends, wives, who informed me that my ex-wife wanted my phone number, which I had changed after the divorce, but she didn't say much when I asked her why, and she said she needed to chat. I felt that was significant because, remember, we had never spoken before, so her wanting to speak to me generated a feeling of seriousness, so I told her to give me my phone number. My ex-wife phoned yesterday, and she sounded very creepy, for real. She didn't have the voice she used to have, but it was broken, and you could tell something was wrong. After that, I inquired as to what was wrong, and she fell into tears. When the topic turned to how beautiful things were in the past, it quickly turned to how things are now. That other guy is a manipulative, alcoholic sociopath who has betrayed her multiple times over the course of their 7-month relationship, leaving her in charge of money, requiring her to get employment, and now she is pregnant. In order to avoid being the father, he has accused her of cheating on him and is hitting her. She has nowhere to go, and he demands an abortion if they are to remain together. When I asked her why she didn't call the police instead, she said that she had nowhere else to turn, that none of her friends were willing to help her, and that the boss had ties in the department, so she is terrified if things go bad. She is alone since she is unable to contact her family because they do not want to have anything to do with her at this time. I swear to you, listening to her made me depressed. I informed her that I sympathized with her situation but that I couldn't assist her since I didn't want to be a third party. Then I told her that any connection we may have had was no longer active and that she was on her own. After all, she doesn't mean anything to me, so why should I fight for her? After all, they're now a married couple. They're dating, and she has the upper hand since she earns more money than he does. If she does not want to get an abortion, I encouraged her to grab some money and depart without saying anything. There were 17 minutes in all and she basically wanted to continue chatting, but I told her I was busy and asked her to leave the room. The way she treated me and the fact that she abandoned me were both expressed as remorse by her. That is something in which I have absolutely no interest whatsoever. I told her that she should only contact me if absolutely necessary since I don't want to hear from her anymore, and she agreed. Because no one deserves to be treated in this manner, I gave it some serious consideration last night and felt forced to take action. But I don't want to get in the way since doing so would disrupt my own sense of calm. If I can be of assistance to her in any way, I would appreciate it if you could provide any recommendations. They told me they didn't want anything to do with her since she's already dead in their eyes, so I called her family and explained the situation. Edit, gentlemen, I have no intention of reconciling with her, reuniting with her, or even attempting to assist her. I provided her links to the rescue and tried to contact her family, but they urged me to disconnect her. The only reason I want to assist her is that she came out to me as a last option, and I don't want to live my life regretting that I could have helped but decided not to, which is why I wrote this article. I'm going to give her money via her buddy before informing her that this is all I can do and that she shouldn't contact me unless it's an emergency.